Hello, and welcome back to another MyTeam video. Today it's time for the Temple of Speed. It's time for Monza. If you're excited, well, leave a like and subscribe. If you're not excited, leave. No, don't leave. We have a fantastic video coming up, so sit back, relax, and as you can see, we are spending a bit of money, or maybe we are not. Well, it doesn't look like it, as I am checking what is necessary, and at the moment nothing is really necessary. We only have this season left, so there's not like we have to spare things for next season, because there is no next season. We have the Italian Grand Prix, and let's get into it. As you can see, today we are not doing a stop in between qualifying and the pre-weekend. Let me know what you think about it. Should I just keep talking during this scene as well, or should I keep my mouth shut and do it like always? We are here for the qualifying, so as you can see, P22 it is, Latifi, Schumacher, Show and Norris are the four guys ahead of me. Of course, they also had a time, I didn't, so that's not fair. Let's change that and make sure that we are true to Q3. My first lap, I don't know why, but I have an invalid out lap, so we go on to put in a good lap for ourselves. At least top 16, hopefully P10, hopefully P1. Well, P1 is not gonna happen, that I know, because I drove this and I know what is going to happen. Actually, I don't know anymore. Whoa. It's been a while since I recorded this, as I pre-record some of my YouTube videos. You might not know this, you might do. As Schwarzman, Latifi, Norris and Joe are the four guys ahead of me. It looks like Latifi and Schumacher both went up. Didn't see that one coming, to be honest, because it's Schumacher and Latifi, you know. But we are here for our first lap, and our first lap is a 1:18.6, good enough for P12. Are we gonna do another lap? Well, yeah, because I need a bit more time. We go into this first chicane, no, it's actually the second already. You can see we gain a lot of time, almost 3/10, and gain even more in the rest of the lap. That means that we gain 4/10 on our previous lap, and that should be enough for us to get into the next part of qualifying. P7 it is. As we take a look at the results, it's actually P7 still. So only 6/10 of pole position in Q1. Usually it's around the second. So I'm happy with this result. Of course, I want to be on pole position, but you can get everything. We are going to go for the win today, of course, because I have a feeling that we are quite strong on this track. I actually like this track to drive through the Lesmos, through the chicanes, through Ascari, through all the corners basically. But here we go for our first lap in Q2, and as you can see, through the Lesmos, a few drivers already set their time, and we are in P6, dropping down all the way until we are finally crossing the finish line ourselves. At the moment, it looks like this is quite a good lap. I have the feeling that this is not our only lap, but it's still good enough for a baseline. P3 actually, still a second behind Verstappen, so I definitely want to do another lap, as Carlos Sainz is behind me. I don't know what went wrong there, but something had to go wrong, as we are down to P9. Everybody is setting their times as we are just starting ours. So we are going, of course, for an improvement. Still in P9, so I think we are through. But we are still improving. As you can see, 4/10 is the difference between our previous lap and this one. A second. But we are only a 10 faster than Sergio Perez. It just shows how much the difference is between P10 and P8. It's so big. And as we complete our qualifying lap, it's 1.1 seconds faster. P10 it is. I think everybody is improving now, and we are improving as well. It's P7 for us, so that's a very lovely, simply lovely, as Max Verstappen would say. And of course, that means that we are through to Q3. Carlos Sainz only P5, and that means that we are not that far off our teammates. Only a 10th is the difference, 4/10 to Sergio Perez, who was this time in P1. But now it's only 10 drivers out on track. We still have 2 fresh sets of softs, and we are going to use them both. Oh no, actually not. This is a used set. I saw it and I corrected my mistake. If you believe my my speeches, I don't know what I'm saying. But if you believe me in stuff, well, you need to be careful with that. It's not that I'm not trustworthy, but you know, sometimes I make mistakes. It's as simple as that. As we are crossing the line for our first lap, it's P8. it's P10. Okay, very lovely to see. But now with 1 minute 10 seconds remaining, we have to go for a battle lap to make sure that we are not starting on the 5th row on the grid, but we are starting higher up. You can see very close behind Max Verstappen. Hopefully we can use him for a bit of slipstream, because that one can help massively. As you can see, improving by almost a second, and even though we are still a few tenths back, it helps still a bit, because the wind is still a bit different than what it should be if Max Verstappen wouldn't be here. 1.4 seconds improvement, and that's good enough for P4. The best that we've gotten in a few races now, or a few qualifying, of course. But yeah, I'm happy with this result. P4, 2 tenths of pole position. Maybe I could have gained a tenth or two somewhere in the lap, but P4 is for me good enough. One Red Bull and one Ferrari are in between us, and then the other ones are underneath us. So I'm happy with this result. Let's get into the race.
It's time for the Italian Grand Prix once again, here at the beloved and iconic Autodromo Nazionale di Monza. With the lowest downforce and drag of any circuit in the season, expect to see drivers making the most of the slipstream effect here today. With the rain coming down here at the 3.6-mile Monza circuit, the low drag setups preferred by most teams could cause them some problems in today's Grand Prix. So watch out for cars struggling for grip around the Curva Michele Alboreto. That's the Parabolica to you and me, the last and most demanding of this track's 11 corners. Off the back of a fantastic qualifying session, it's time to see how our starting grid looks like for today's race. It's Carlos Sainz in pole position, edging out Max Verstappen, who'll start from P2. Moving on to the rest of the grid, we have Fernando Alonso, Lightning, Liam Lawson, and Russell. Perez, Ocon, Ricciardo, and Yuki Tsunoda. Magnussen, Ticktum, Oscar Piastri, and Mick Schumacher. Gasly, Stroll, Robert Schwartzman, and Alex Albon. Leclerc, they've taken a grid penalty. Norris, Joe, and Nicholas Latifi. Now it's almost time for lights out, so let's go down to the track. Joining us today to oversee all the thrills and spills, it's Anthony Davidson. And great to see you. How are you feeling about the race today, and how are the circuit conditions from what you've seen?
Well, the surface looks clean enough, but I'm a little bit worried about the track temperature. It's pretty cool out there, which could give some teams difficulties when it comes to keeping their tyres in the right operating window. The cars out there that work their tyres hard and really put a lot of energy through them, they'll be the ones that are better off.
Alright, so let's move on into the race. As you can see, we are starting in P4, just like we qualified. And it looks like my teammate Verstappen and Alonso are the 3 guys we need to beat to stay in P1. Actually get into P1, as we are not in P1 just yet, but that's what we want to get today. You can see, it's a Ferrari. I think that's Charles Leclerc, who is all the way back down, so he won't have a great race if he's not fast enough. But it's lights out, and away we go. It's on the intermediates because it's raining. It will dry up later, but that's not for now, as it's quite a good start, not losing any position at the moment. You can see I block off George Russell, and down the inside we go of Fernando Alonso, locking up the tires. But oh boy, I think that's P3 for us, going a bit wide, and onto the grass we go with 1 tire, and that means that we lose a lot of time there. Luckily we can stay in P4, but that means that we now have to defend from Esteban Ocon. But luckily that car isn't too fast and we can stay in front of it easily. Now into lap 2 we are going, and as you can see, Fernando Alonso is still ahead of Sainz, still ahead of us. Verstappen, you can guess it, still ahead of us. That's not what we need, but as you can see, the fastest lap is ours, so we are fast enough to keep up with these guys. Ocon and Russell still staying really close, actually just Ocon, because Russell is falling a bit down. But we are finally getting into the 1 second gap back to Alonso, as Lance Stroll is out of this race. He's no longer fighting for any points, any podiums or any wins, not that he was in the beginning of it, but still. As we said, another fastest lap, and you can see the gap to Alonso is really close. We try to put him a bit under pressure, but it doesn't work like I wanted to. I want to overtake him as soon as possible so that we can catch up to Sainz and Verstappen, because they are the guys who are really the hardest to beat in this race. I know that Sainz is always good. He is just the master of the season. And Verstappen, he's also up on that level, but not quite. So they are the two most difficult drivers. As Charles Leclerc is all the way back down, you can see he's now going into sector 2. Not the best race for him so far. But you can see quickly through the laps we are going, as we are in lap 9, going into lap 10 just after this. And hopefully now we can overtake Alonso onto the main straight that we go. Because Sainz is already 3 seconds up ahead. Together with Verstappen, they are taking a lot of pace with them, and we need to get into that DRS zone, because I think it's only a few laps until it's dry. Let's go down the inside of Fernando Alonso, a bit too deep, but that is up in us up into P3, up into the podium, and now you can see the gap is 4 seconds to the leader, 3.5 seconds to Carlos Sainz. It's time to close that gap, as I was feeling a lot of pace in these conditions as well. Of course, the first 2 laps are always difficult because we are not used to driving in the wet. The AI is instantly used to driving in the wet, so that's why I was a bit off the pace at the start, but we are finally back onto the pace. Max Verstappen putting in a 128.4, we go for a 124.8, and we go for a 124.3. So half a second faster, and that's great because now even faster, 124.2. And that means that we are closing in so much, only a second in between our teammate and us. And as you can see, the rain has stopped in lap 13. And I think it's time, not for us, I want to wait one more lap, but it's time for my teammate to go into the pits. You can see 2 purple sectors, that means that the track is getting better and better each lap. Not that I'm not fast, but still, the track is getting better as well. As Carlos Sainz is into the pits, he's going onto the mediums, and so are we. 1 lap later, a 123.5 is our fastest lap on the intermediates, but we go into the pits. A perfect entry, just like always. And as you can see, coming out of the pits, it looks like we are ahead of our teammates. Or is he going to do the Max Verstappen move of 2021? No, he is not, and we are still both into this race. But unfortunately, the track is still a bit damp, and that did give us a huge disadvantage, because Verstappen is used to driving in these conditions with these tires because he's an AI, but I am not. So I am losing quite a bit of time here. Not the best, of course, because I want to win this race and not get P2. But luckily, now that the track is drying up and the temperatures are back into our tires, we are finally catching up to Verstappen and gaining a few purple sectors. Alonso and Sainz still within 1 second, and they are forming a DRS train, but we are trying to go faster, trying to go not over the limit. On the limit is good, but over the limit, that was, I think, a slightly bit over the limit. That's not what we want, as we are in lap 17, approaching back markers, and we only see Max stepping ahead. Well, I don't want to say anything, but no, we just overtook P21, so that's why we got the blue flag still on our screen. But we are here for the overtake. We finally get DRS, and we use the ERS that we've spared for the last few laps, going down the inside, never mind, going around the outside actually, and we brake a bit later. We did a weird wiggle with our car, but we are still on track. Verstappen, of course, really close behind, but we have a fast engine. We have zero wings, so we should be the fastest out on the main straight, and that's what we are doing as well, because we want to stay ahead for these final 10 laps. But in lap 18, you can see still a few drops on my lens as Verstappen is overtaking me. You can see I let him go because I have the feeling that I want to use the DRS, but he locks up and he goes onto the gravel. He is no longer in the fight for the win. Oh my god, Verstappen, he's out. He's out of the podium, out of the points even, and that is a safety car. Are we going into the pits for softs? Are we going to risk it? I don't want to risk it actually, because of course you can see... Wait, what? I want to say, because you can see the gaps to Russell and Lawson, they are very close behind us. But we actually overtook the safety car. He was still in the pit exit, so we could just overtake him, and that's what we did. And that means that we are now in lap 20, still behind the safety car. One less lap that we need to defend from our teammate and from Alonso and from Lawson and from Russell and everybody else. But of course, we are going to do this. We are fast enough. Safety car is in this lap. We are the leader. We are going to determine the pace until the safety car is in and until we are crossing that finish line for the start of lap 22. Do you think we are going to get this or not? Let me know, because I am really excited for these final few laps. It's just a sprint race until the end. You can see I'm going really slow to make sure that the tires of the guys behind are getting colder and colder. Of course mine is as well. But you know, I don't care. I can drive with cold tires. I'm used to it. They are not. Let's go. It's time to restart this race, baby. Alonso and P2, can we do a cheeky restart? Yes, we can. We are once again green flag running. It was a 2 minutes actually, 2 minute 12 lap. You can see that was a lot slower, almost a minute slower than our usual lap times. But into turn 1 we go, no attack from Alonso, a bit deep because our tires were cold, you know. As now Fernando Alonso is trying to go for the overtake. He's going around the side, but we use the inside line, we use our own car, we use our ERS. Paying too much attention to the guys behind and almost driving off track. But we are still going a bit deep into the corners, but the next few should be fine once again. Fernando Alonso trying it once more, but I think this is his final attempt because Carlos Sainz is now trying to fight for P2 and he's actually just giving me the race win because we are now getting away. You can see moving up to lap 23, only 1 lap later and we are already 2 seconds ahead. The fastest lap is now a 1:18.907 and we are absolutely flying in the tempo of speed, just like the title is saying. I don't lie about my titles, you know. I know my titles, you know. But we are now in lap 24, only 4 laps remaining. 24, 25, 26 and 27 and then we are once again a race winner. On to the penultimate lap we go, not the fastest lap unfortunately, but now you can see swerving across the back straight. One more corner, Parabolica, and then we are once again a race winner here in Monza. Nothing could stop us today. We were fastest in the wet, we are the fastest in the dry, and we are the winner of the Monza GP. I wanted to say the Monaco Grand Prix. If I won there, it would be crazy. But you know, it was an amazing Grand Prix to drive, amazing Grand Prix to edit, and an amazing Grand Prix to speak, to voice over. Hopefully you enjoyed it as well. We are not done just yet. Let's take a look at our beautiful podium.
And with that, we wrap up yet another incredible Grand Prix weekend. Anthony Davidson, what helped them deliver this result, do you think?
I think it was clear what the main contributing factor out on track was: speed. I know it sounds like an awfully reductive statement, but fast cars win races, and we saw that today with our winner.
The faces on our top 3 look so incredibly happy as they make their way up to the podium. A much-deserved victory and a brilliant performance from them all.
Thank you very much. That's us up on P1 once again. It's a lovely, simply lovely podium with our teammate on our right hand side and Liam Lawson actually in P3. I don't know what happened to Fernando Alonso. Maybe he's back down to P4. But yeah, that was an amazing Grand Prix. Hopefully you liked it as well, because you know, that's why I make these videos. And yeah, let's take a look at the results, not only for us, but also for the rest of this grid. You can see Alonso in P4, Perez and Verstappen in P5 and 6, and Leclerc only in P9. So he's making it even worse for himself to try and get another championship. He of course won season 1 and 2, becoming a 2-time world champion, but I think that's going to be it for this year. As you can see, there was not much of carnage, to be honest. Only Stroll went out, and the gap to Leclerc for us is 21 points, and the gap from Leclerc to Sainz is 104 points. Oh my god. And yeah, 87 points for us in the constructor standings. I think that's job done, you know. Only a few races left. Well, there are still quite a few, but you know, a few in terms of people can catch up to us. The next one, is the Singapore Grand Prix. If you want to see that one, then subscribe to the channel, like this video, let me know what your favorite track is in F1 in the comments down below, and join the Discord if you want to buy merch. First link in the description, and I'll see you in the next video. Goodbye.